Hey y'all, it's me, Shy One Persephone, here with another book from #My Year of Reading Women. This one was my third book that I completed, and it was The Witch Doesn't Burn in This One by Amanda Lovelace. This is a collection of feminist poetry. Honestly, I don't really read poetry. I don't think I've read poetry since I was assigned it in high school, which was a long time ago. I'm not going to tell you how long ago, but it was a long time ago. It's been a long time since I've read poetry. So I don't even know what constitutes good poetry or how to review poetry. All I can really tell you is that I really liked this book a lot. I found myself like every poem I read, I was like, yes, queen. And I just wanted to screenshot it, or not screenshot it, but take a picture of it and post it so that everybody could read it, because they just, everything was like, yes, I agree. I only ended up taking a picture and posting one poem. It was a poem about red lipstick, which really spoke to me. I can't imagine why. But let me just open to a random page and read the poem to you. No, women are not vessels to fill with your desires. Women, unique, original, creative, amazing, human. No copying or pasting can be done here. And that poem was called The Anti-Manic Pixie Dream Girl. And they're all just like stories like that. Not stories, but poems. It was really easy to get through. I think I read the whole thing. I read half of it one night and the other half the next night. And then I lent it to my sister because I really thought it was important for her to read it. I found it to be really empowering, and I love my sister, but she has some definite self-esteem issues, and I thought that this book might help a little bit with that. So I lent it to her. I had to go over and steal it back from her to make this video, but I'll give it back so she can read it. I actually went out. This book is part of a series called Women of Some Kind of Magic, and I went out and I bought the whole set. So I have an extra one of these. I'll probably end up ferrying this one and keeping the new one for myself, but it's actually the middle book, but this is the one that I was able to find at the used bookstore, so that's the one I read first. But I'll definitely read these during my year of reading women. I do want to try to read more poetry, like I mentioned in my intro. I guess the reason I never really got into poetry was because the way I read, I like to complete a book and then move on to the next one, and I just don't feel like poetry books fit into that sort of approach to reading. I feel like poetry is something that you would pick up and read a couple poems and then set down, and then, a month later, pick it up and read a couple poems and set it back down. It's not something that you would sit there and complete the book. At least for me, that's not how I would have read poetry. So I did find a solution for this year, because I want to read all of these. My favorite author, Francesca Lia Block, has some poetry that I want to read. I want to read Maya Angelou. I actually live in Winston-Salem, where Maya Angelou taught before she passed away. So she was in my town. I could have ran into her at the grocery store, and for some reason I've never read her. So instead of going down my list that I have of the books that I want to read for this year, I've sort of put the poetry parallel to the novels and the short stories. So I'm reading them at the same time, instead of finishing a novel and then reading a book of poetry and then reading a book of short stories. I'm sort of reading the poetry at the same time as I'm reading these other books. There is a point during my nightly skincare routine where I pause. I do several layers of skincare, and then I take at least 15 minutes to let those layers absorb before I go on with the rest of my routine. Normally during that 15 minutes, I would sit there and scroll through my phone and go on Facebook and Instagram and just fuck around. So I've decided to actually take that 15 minutes and read poetry instead. And then, finish the rest of my skincare and go to bed and read whatever novel or short story or nonfiction book that I'm reading. And that sort of was my way of getting poetry into my life and into my routine. However, when I do read my poetry, like I said, I don't know what I'm looking for that makes poetry good. So I'm just basing my thoughts and my reviews off of whether I personally like it or not. So they're not going to be as detailed, as in depth as my review. I don't even want to call them reviews. It's just like my thoughts and feelings about the fiction that I read. So all I can tell you is that I really like this book. I really felt it. I really felt empowered by it. And I feel like other women would feel the same. And if I could post a picture of every single poem online, I totally would. Because I want all my friends to read it. Like I said, I want my sister to read it. My other sister doesn't really have the confidence issues that this sister has, but I'll probably make her read it too. And I'll definitely be reading the rest of the series because, like I said, they're very quick reads. You get through them very quickly. So check out Women Are Some Kind of Magic by Amanda Lovelace. I didn't do my research about this author before I started making this video. Oh, I just noticed there's a fat mermaid. That's awesome. I'm a fat mermaid, y'all. Yeah, they have this this fairy tale element to it. The first one is called The Princess Saves Herself in this one. The one that I read is called The Witch Doesn't Burn in this one. And then the third one is The Mermaid's Voice Returns in this one. So I guess that's the mermaid and that's the witch and that's the princess. But yeah, this set was $45 at Barnes & Noble. I used my 15% off email coupon that I get every once in a while from them. So I would definitely recommend picking those up because they are really awesome. But yeah, that's my first book of poetry. I've already finished my second book of poetry, which I will be making a video about whenever I get the chance. And I hope to learn more about poetry, and I hope to include it, even after this year, include it more in my reading habits because it's just been absent from my life for so long. Yeah, so that's what I have to say about this book. Burn whoever tries to burn you. But so you can subscribe here if you're interested in more videos and what I'm reading. You can follow me on Instagram at Shine1Persephone, or if you're really just interested in my year of reading women, you can follow hashtag my year of reading women on Instagram, and that will show you all of my posts that specifically have to do with this project. But I will see you next time with another book. Okay, bye.